from Bloor Street in downtown Toronto. It's The Morning Show.
Everybody. When we come back, we'll speak to the author of Man Shoes, The Journey to Becoming a Better Man, Husband, and Father. Tom Watson joins us next.
That is very evocative.
Good morning, everybody. It's almost 7:45 on this Thursday morning. 5 degrees your high. Later today, you might want to grab an umbrella as you head out this morning. Tom Watson is here. He is the author of Man Shoes, The Journey to Becoming a Better Man, Husband, and Father. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is an incredible story. It feels like it's sort of part biography or autobiography and part self-help book, just to help people to understand where you're coming from and what motivated you to write it. Before you were the age of 5, you were in 13 foster homes?
Yeah, 13 foster homes. Wrote it for my sons, actually. I had a stroke 8 years ago, and I actually wrote the book for my 3 sons as a journal. And just so that if I had another stroke or a heart attack and passed away, I just was worried what would the boys know about me, and so I wrote them a journal which turned into Man Shoes. So
really, I was going to ask you how that started. That's kind of brilliant in a way. It's important to put that stuff down, I think.
I don't think we do a very good job as fathers telling our kids about our life story and translating that over for them so they actually know where their dad came from, you know.
I was going to say that. I mean, that's sort of very typical. Fathers unable to talk to their sons or daughters because you're just not used to communicating.
Yeah.
Where did you learn to do that?
Well, I think the Watsons, like my 13th foster home, were very much into communication, and I needed that because I had not been communicated to very well when I was young, you know. And so I learned from them about the importance of really telling a story. And Mr. Watson was an old Irish guy, and he was a real storyteller.
But I can't imagine I mean, I have a 5-year-old at home. If he had been bounced between 13 different homes, and these were not all loving homes.
No.
By any means.
Yeah. No, I was badly abused. Unfortunately, there's 17,000 foster kids in Canada every year, brand new ones. So, and most of them go through more than 13 foster homes before they hit a group home. And
so the Watsons that eventually were the family that raised you must have been really special people to help you overcome what happened in those first 5 years of your life and to help you develop into the man you are today who wants to share this now with his family. What did they do to help you along the way?
Well, you know, they were almost 60 when they took me in at 5. So, I mean, why would they do that is the question. But just a lot of love, and both of them retiring. So I had 2 parents at home, which I think I needed 2 parents at home. Sure. And I think what they instilled in me was this ability to look ahead and stop looking back, stop using your past as an excuse, and really focus on where you could go and who you could be in this life. And they gave me this rule, which was your choice plus your actions equals your life. And I use that every day in my life today. So everything I choose to do, everything I act on, is how I'm going to be perceived and what my legacy is going to be to my children, to my wife, to my community, to the world.
What lessons do you want your sons or people reading the book to impart from your experience?
Well, the Watsons really taught me about traditions, how traditions can help you in good times and bad. And so I talk a lot about traditions and establishing traditions with your family so that you build this foundation at home. You know, in business, I run a lot of businesses, and I always tell people when I speak to them in a business sense that if you're not successful at home, you're going to be less successful in business. So home, what I've tried to impart to my sons is build a successful home life. Everything else will flow from there.
Extend from there. Well, you know, I have 2 sons, grown sons, and you never stop being a father. But there are critical years where that father-son connection, you know, you're right in the crucible here, doing the right thing, setting the right example, and hopefully you'll see some payback. Yeah. But there are years you go through where their peer groups are seem to be more important when you think you've lost them.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you go from being brilliant to stupid, and then at some point, hopefully brilliant again, right?
Back.
And I'm finding that I'm starting to get brilliant again with my 2 older boys.
Yeah.
So
What are some of the, you talked about traditions earlier, what are some of the ones that stand out that made a big difference in your life?
You know, it's a lot of the traditions that we use, and we have a lot in our house. I have a plate, my wife and I have a plate called, it's Your Special Plate. So when one of our sons or any of us do anything extraordinary outside of the normal in our day-to-day lives, when we have dinner, that person gets to use the Your Special Plate. And on the back of it, we write on the plate what the date was and what was the significant accomplishment. We have a box of communication cards that we use at dinner, so you pass them out and they're in front of your plate. And so what you do is you flip up and it'll say, what was your favorite holiday memory? And so all of us have to talk about what our favorite holiday memory was. So it creates this tradition of speaking at the table, so we're not just eating and racing.
Don't have a nose into one of these.
We're not having those. TV's off.
Did your sons ever say, Dad, I don't want to do that?
Oh, there's, you know, teenagers get to that point where it's like, I don't want to do this. But you know what? We say, no, we're going to do this. And we have fun doing it, you know. So it's creating these fun moments for them. Super Bowl is a big thing. Grey Cup's a big thing. We have, you know, a tradition of having a big fondue on New Year's Eve where my teenage sons, or my now grown sons, still come home for New Year's Eve and then head out with their buddies. Yeah. You know, there's tons of things that you can build into your life. People often think a tradition, it's a big event and we just build it into our day-to-day lives, you know. I used to go into the boys' room every night and sit on their bed, and even when they were teenagers, grab a book off their shelf and just read a chapter to them. So they'd lay there. My 15, 16-year-old sons would lay there and their dad would read a chapter to them. And what I would do that for is to teach them that reading is very important, but also it spurred on a lot of bedtime talk. You know?
Right.
So,
and they just know that you want to be there and you're interested and you've got the time and you want to hear what they have to say as well. It's really just such a lovely, moving book. Man Shoes, The Journey to Becoming a Better Man, Husband and Father by Tom Watson. And Tom will be signing his book tonight at Indigo in the Man You Life between 5 and 7 p.m. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on, you guys.
Pleasure.
It was great.
It's 10 to 8. We're going to be back in just a moment.